Welcome to the Civic Hub. The Civic Hub is a shared community space for grassroots and small nonprofit organizations working to make lives better for everyone in Waterloo region. Partner organizations come from a range of fields: environmental justice, democratic reform, arts and culture, anti-poverty, anti-racism, human rights, ethno-cultural and newcomer support, technology, peace and nonviolence, spirituality, and well-being. On the show, we welcome one of our partners to the Civic Hub. Today on Welcome to the Civic Hub, we welcome Jackie Prada from the Disability and Human Rights Group. With me in the studio today is also Ritika Sharmali, who is the director of the Civic Hub.
I just manage the program.
Just manages the program.
Yeah.
Jackie, welcome to the Civic Hub.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. You are with a specific group that makes use of the Civic Hub called Disability and Human Rights. Can you tell us what that group is and what it does and why it's there?
Yes, so in a nutshell, we're just trying to expand the voice of and advocacy of people with disabilities in the KW region. We are at the moment a very small group, but we've in the past gone to make our voice heard on issues like homelessness, low income, as well as direct disability issues that are similar.
What sort of direct disability issues would those be?
Related to housing, as employment or economic support, such as the Canada Disability Benefit.
Mm-hmm. And those are issues that you're advocating for specific individuals or for just Canada-wide disability rights?
Yeah, it's Canada-wide, and it's just getting the voices of KWs, disabled people, amplified.
Mm-hmm. Disability Human Rights Group, is that a large group within KW?
It is not at the moment, but we're looking to expand, hence why I said okay to being on a podcast.
Very good. How many people are you providing service to?
We are a small but powerful group of 5 or 6 individuals that are mixed, both people with disabilities and allies.
Mm-hmm. Had the privilege of speaking with Brad Alton a few years ago, who was then a member of the Disability and Human Rights Group. Had a bunch of interesting things to say. Refer you back to the Civic Hub webpage to catch up on that particular podcast. Have you been with Disability and Human Rights for a long time?
There's others who have been with them for even longer, but I've been since 2018.
Okay, that's a fair stretch of time, working up to 10 years. How have things progressed over the time that you've been with DHR?
They've progressed and changed and had different interns or volunteers in and out, different projects, such as having our own, I guess, they're not quite podcasts, but little snippets about key issues like employment and housing. And 3 of our group members have these little snippets on our website. And then we had changes to who ran the group, and have gone in and out of working on specific projects, but also just having socials and being support for each other and regrouping and reshaping and deciding what we are.
Socials, so it isn't just all advocacy and politics.
Exactly. When you're that small, it had to be a little of both, and you kind of have to know each other to be able to deal with some of these sensitive issues.
I guess with a small group, you have the advantage of knowing everybody who's involved, and it's easier to divide up the work, make sure that nobody's stepping on anybody else's toes and getting in the way of getting the work done.
Exactly.
But a larger group, how would that be beneficial?
That could be beneficial in that we could have little pockets and accomplish more. I think you're getting more into questions later about exactly what we do, but at the moment, like for example, we're able to focus on one event with 6 of us, with maybe, I think I'd been told from our long range members that we didn't want to be huge, but I think it might have been beneficial to have another 5, 6 members. Then we might be able to take on 2, 3 projects.
Right. I guess that's the problem you've got with all volunteer organizations. You've got the core group of people doing all the work, and if you're not careful, that could lead to burnout.
Right.
Yeah. So you've got these 5 people, you said, working on a single project right now.
Yes.
Can you let us in on the secret?
Yes, so it is an event taking place at Kitchener Public Library on May 31st from 10:30 to 30. That's going to be a panel discussion. Our moderator is Carmen Sutherland, who is a fairly big name in the disability community. And our topic is economic opportunity, income, and employment for people with disabilities. And the idea for this event was because it's towards the end of National Accessibility Week.
So I didn't know we had a National Accessibility Week. How long has that been around?
Good question. I don't know its history. It is a government-supported event. They'll be announcing that government had webinars and such. They are kind of last minute about publicizing this. That was another reason I felt like doing this event, was to add to that, because there's lots of awareness days. Probably people would agree with you that they don't know as much about Accessibility Week.
That's right. And so while you've got people's attention for Disability Week, you're taking advantage of all the hype and media attention that you'll be getting to hold a panel discussion at the library.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And was there a question there that I missed?
No, not really a question.
Okay.
I do have a question. Why economics? Why that seems a pretty dry subject.
Or we just put a wording together. I think what we were getting at was the 2 sides of that, because there's 2 sides to that issue of there are a few people with more involved disabilities where it's difficult to work. Then it's kind of in between, and it's possible for people, say with intellectual disabilities, to work part-time at certain jobs, or more extensive everyday jobs. And then, so across the range, we started talking economics because there are programs such as Ontario Disabilities Support Program and the equivalent in other provinces that are fairly big supporters of people being able to pay their rent, do other tasks of living without necessarily working.
Yeah, that Ontario Disability Support Program, ODSP, is kind of a two-edged sword there, isn't it? Because if you do happen to find work while you're on ODSP, the ODSP gets clawed back.
Correct. I don't know in detail. I've been on and off it with lower end jobs and then completely off it for a bigger job. It's definitely a confusing network that way. It at least is a sizable amount of money. A newer program, the Canada Disability Benefit, is coming out this May to July for applications and is only set to be about 200 a month with the possibility of clawbacks.
Okay, so it doesn't sound like that the Canada benefit is nearly as good as ODSP.
Yes, and I will admit that I am on the privileged side of what I think of ODSP, with having family support, which definitely not everybody has. So it's one that when ODSP works fairly well for me, plenty of people think it's not nearly enough, and they're correct.
Yeah.
The amount is about 1,368 a month.
Yeah. Which in the Kitchener-Waterloo area, Waterloo region, is not considered a living wage. It's not enough to be above the poverty level in this particular area, especially with rents being as high as they are nowadays.
Correct.
So I imagine that is part of the advocacy that disability and human rights groups takes on, is to advocate for livable incomes off disability and Canada disability benefits.
Exactly. And then it's just being like what they advocate, most disability groups and larger ones tell you to do is to go speak with your officials around election periods, because that's a really effective way to get attention.
Yeah, so we're recording this.
And we might have a special appearance of one of the I think I lose my terminology, whether that's MP or MPP in Canada, but the Kitchener Centre Green Party representative, Mike Morris, we might have a surprise appearance of him.
Excellent.
At our event.
Now that you've announced it on the radio and on the podcast, it's not going to be so much of a surprise anymore. But I do know that Mike Morris, the MP, the Member of Parliament for Kitchener Centre, has been a big advocate for the Canadian Disability Benefit, getting that passed and stick-handled through the process in the House of Commons. I believe that the MPP, the Minister of the Member of Provincial Parliament, Aisling Clancy, is a big advocate for disability and human rights in the provincial parliament as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
So we're recording this today on Monday, April the 14th, which is right in the middle of a federal election campaign. Does that mean that this is a good time to be lobbying the politicians, or are they too busy to pay attention?
That was why I just hinted that, well, so we've had Mike Morris at a past event, and I've started communicating with him. I found it excellent that they'd still mostly respond to us, but yes, that's where you can tell the difference between different parties, whether they'd at least quickly respond to you during this period or not.
Right. Yeah, I guess the work of the members of parliament doesn't stop during an election campaign, so it's a good time, I think, to catch all the candidates, all the members of parliament to bring this issue to the forefront. It's certainly something that they can provide their party platform on. Have you done any comparison like that? Have you checked out the different parties and their platforms on disability and human rights issues?
Good question. I go and look that sort of thing and am a member, get updates from a variety of organizations like the AODA Alliance, but also for this election and several past elections, they made that job easier, and several large disability organizations partnered together, and there was a disability issues debate on April 8th that can be watched on YouTube.
Okay. I think what we'll do is link to that YouTube video in our show notes that you'll be able to find on civichubwr.org. Right in the top center of the menu there is Welcome to the Civic Hub, where we have the show notes for all our previous episodes. So in the show notes for this episode, we'll link to all the resources that you've provided, as well as that YouTube video of the debate on disabilities and disability issues. How do you go about influencing a politician? I mean, there must be good ways to do that and bad ways to do that. What have you found to be effective?
This is where it catches me. That was a new experience to me, and I just went for it, act professional, and try doing things that sounded like they were on their platform, appeal to their interests, and try to start a conversation.
Yeah, good. And hopefully they paid attention, and will bring appropriate legislation forward in Parliament to help ease the difficulties, the economic difficulties that face people who have disabilities. Can you go over the speaker list again for your panel?
Okay, so I am missing some names right now. Maybe these are some that we can send back to the notes if that was a possibility, but I am one of the speakers, and the other name that I have right now is that the moderator is Carmen Sutherland.
Right. I expect that it'll be a knowledgeable panel. Are these all people who have disabilities, or are you inviting people from outside the disability community to participate as well?
We were open to both. At the moment, so me and Carmen both have disabilities, as does one other panelist who I am blanking on the name.
We'll catch that in the show notes.
Yeah. Figuring out who the last one was, it might be somebody who is an employment support expert who may or may not have a disability.
Yeah. So often I hear of people outside of the disability community making pronouncements, making decisions, writing policy, and really have no understanding, no deep knowledge of what people with disabilities actually require. I mean, here I am sitting as a perfectly able white old man. I am far outside the disability community. So anything that I would learn from a panel discussion, or anything that I would learn from interviews that you have is valuable to me, and makes me realize how ill-equipped I am to provide guidance and counsel and policy decisions. You must run into that all the time.
Yeah, my biggest thing is when people look like they tried to do something from a book and were too afraid to connect with people with lived experience. Once you're connecting to people with lived experience, you can learn, and I'm not so against, like, you don't have to have all the right answers. If you're a good listener, then you're a step in the right direction.
Good. How do you find, back to politics again, how do you find political representation for the disability community in Parliament, in the legislature for Ontario? Are there advocates who are doing a good job? You said Mike Morris is doing a fairly decent job. How are disability issues being tackled in the various levels of government?
They are, I mean, everybody will go after the other complicated issues are happening in Canada right now, so it's a hard one, but yes, you can tell that with my voting decision, for example, I just went after somebody who would not reverse history and be cooperative with organizations who might have created change by themselves, and that's about it.
We have a visitor who's in the room there with Jackie.
Yeah.
You said that you're hoping to grow the group. You've got a small handful of members there now. If people are interested, if people want to join in, how can they get a hold of you?
So a start would be, if you know the Social Development Center website, looking up disability and human rights, and reaching us by email. I don't know if I could provide my email in the notes so that I don't have to say it over broadcast.
We'll definitely have those links available for the show notes. The Social Development Center website is waterlooregion.org, and there are links to the various groups that they support, including DHR, the Disability and Human Rights Group. So connect with the Social Development Center, and then he'll put you in touch with Jackie, who can get you to join up and help out with hopefully some additional events happening after the big one at the end of May this year.
Exactly. And our meetings, we tried to stick to Wednesdays at 11 a.m. And the best way to decide if it was for you was to get in touch with me, attend one of those meetings, and find out.
And that's open to everybody?
We might have a quick conversation with you beforehand, or get a sense of what someone was like through email first. But we've not had much interest, so we'd be pretty open to trying people who showed interest.
Exactly. So you're looking for people to help out, to lobby politicians, to organize events, to help manage social events, perhaps. What about people who just want to participate as a consumer of your services? Is that a possibility? Somebody who just wants to come to the social event, maybe just attend as an audience member your seminar on the 31st?
Exactly. We are definitely looking for audience members. That's what I was advertising here. It's a great way to engage and get to know each other.
We'll get you to do a public service announcement that we can air on the radio, and that's actually open to any of the other social groups, both for the Civic Hub and anywhere else. Send an email to office@radiowaterloo.ca with PSA, for public service announcement, in the subject line. Create a 45-second long audio clip, and we'll stick it on the radio to help advertise your event. So definitely going to hold you to that, Jackie. Get you to record something to put on the radio.
Perfect.
All right. As a recap, can you go over the details of the upcoming event?
Yes. So 10:30 to 12:30, Kitchener Public Library, and there will be signs.
There'll be signs.
Because we don't know how to describe the location.
Does the event have a name?
Yes. So income, economic opportunity, and employment for people with disabilities.
Okay. And on the panel, we'll have Jackie Prada and Carmen Sutherland and other people that haven't been determined yet. This should be interesting. I'm looking forward to popping in and listening and learning from you and your panelists on May the 31st.
We are also planning to have that recorded for people who didn't make it in person.
Very good. Yeah, so
be able to hear the conversation.
Able to catch up and learn things after the event is already over. That's a very good plan. Yeah. After the event is over, you said you wanted to plan some additional events. What sort of things might you have in the future? What are the distant and muzzy ideas that might be coming up?
Keeping going with events, because just keeping KW's event and visibility of people with disabilities up and going. In the past, we've also done an event for International Persons with Disabilities Day, which is in December. So those kinds of events to, like, hopefully annually to keep things going.
Okay. Draw some attention to the issues and hopefully provide education. Yeah. Any entertainment events planned? Social events, potluck dinners, anything of that nature?
Not at the moment. We piggyback out off of the Civic Hub for those bigger things.
Civic Hub has a regular Wednesday dinner or lunch?
Yes, this time it's going to be a Wednesday dinner at 5:30 on 16th April.
That's coming up in a couple of days from the time we record this. If you're listening to the podcast, you've probably missed it, but there'll be another one on an upcoming Wednesday. All right. Anything that I've missed here, Jackie? Something that you want to catch up on that I haven't touched on yet?
Nope, I believe my email and our poster for the event will maybe make it into your notes for this podcast.
Absolutely.
Somewhere for people to get a hold of it.
Check that out on civichubwr.org. Jackie Prada, thank you very, very much for coming in and talking to us about the Disability and Human Rights Group and the upcoming seminar at Kitchener Public Library on May the 31st, the end of the National Day for Disabilities. Did I get that right?
National Accessibility Week. There.
National Accessibility Week. Lovely. Thank you so much, Jackie.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You've been listening to Welcome to the Civic Hub, where we welcome community partners to the Civic Hub. The Civic Hub is online at civichubwr.org. You can reach the Civic Hub by email at civichub@waterlooregion.org. Welcome to the Civic Hub is produced at the studios of CKMS-FM 102.7 Radio Waterloo. The show is sponsored by the Social Development Center of Waterloo Region. The executive producer is Alexander Petrovich. Ritika Sharmali is producer and co-host, and I'm Bob Jonkman. Civic Hub is supported by the Region of Waterloo Upstream Fund. The theme music is A Good Bass by Kumiku from the Free Music Archive and used under a Creative Commons CC0 license.